Hello all, my name is Laura Presley and today I'm going to be discussing the works of Marie-Guillemine Benoist as my second artist in our artist presentations. To begin, I'm going to show you a portrait, a self-portrait rather, by Marie-Guillemine Benoist from 1786. Benoist was born to a politician and housewife in 1768 in the city of Paris with an aristocratic lineage. Her family status and heritage allowed Marie-Guillemine a seat at the table in terms of art education. Marie-Guillemine enrolled in Elizabeth Vigée Lebrun's atelier at the age of 13. Vigée Lebrun, circa 1755 to 1842, was a very successful portrait artist and member of the Royal Academy, which was extremely rare as a female painter. Vigée Lebrun, at age 26, instructed Marie-Guillemine alongside 5 to 15 girls in a private Hotel Le Bert in the 2nd district of Paris. This was a private atelier. At the age of 15, Marie-Guillemine applied for one of 4 spots for women in the Royal Academy. Clearly, this was extremely competitive as there were 48 male spots for every 4 female spots. Ultimately, her application was rejected. Regardless, her connection to Elizabeth Louise Vigée Lebrun gave her many opportunities and academic and professional ones at that. So here I'd like to show you a portrait alongside the previous self-portrait. The one to the right is a portrait of Benoist by Jacques-Louis David. But in addition to training under Elizabeth Louise Vigée Lebrun, Marie-Guillemine also studied under the renowned, like I said, Jacques-Louis David. After Vigée Lebrun closed her studio, Benoist entered the atelier of Jacques-Louis David. Alongside her, her sister Elizabeth Leroux de Laville also was in the program. These were just 2 of the 3 female artists allowed to do so. So for many artists, man or woman, studying under David was a high honor. In addition to his legacy as the greatest history painter in the 18th century, David also trained a new generation of neoclassicist artists. Some you may remember from this course, of course, Girardet, Gerard, and Ingres. Benoist's wish for her historical painting, or rather to partake in historical painting, was aroused as her style was more defined studying under David. As she couldn't officially paint history scenes as a woman, she included a lot of mythological elements that inspired her, which we will see now in her work, Psyche Bidding Her Family Farewell. Before that painting, though, her debut in the salon was this work, Innocence Between Vice and Virtue, in 1790. This is from a private collection. Only a year later, she created the incredible work Psyche Bidding Her Family Farewell, and in a moment you'll see the clear growth from this painting to the latter. So here I'm going to discuss Benoist's work Psyche Bidding Her Family Farewell. This work hangs alongside Vigée Lebrun's portrait of Hyacinthe Gabrielle Roland. These both were produced in 1791, and here Benoist is reunited with her first teacher at the Legion. So here, Psyche Bidding Her Family Farewell, Benoist chose an earlier, more obscure chapter in the tale, whereas Benoist's male contemporaries focused on the myth's erotic possibilities in idealized nudes. However, Benoist's version depicts Psyche embracing her tearful mother while her father, the king, stands by with his head in his hand. And here's a detail of 2 elements, or rather 2 portions of the painting. A curator, Emily Benet, curator of European paintings, notes the pristine glazing highlights in Benoist's attention to detail, letting us see the tears that glisten in the queen's cheeks, the gleaming tendrils of the Psyche's hair, and the flutter and weight of her draperies in the glow of pearls against flesh. Now, here's a work by the artist of Emperor Napoleon's sister and Duchess of Lucca from 1806. This is just to highlight her career as a painter. Benoist's work and career was deeply entangled with the socio-political context of the Revolutionary era. Benoist's father, René Lerex de la Ville, was a member of King Louis XVI's administration in 1793. The same year, the artist married Pierre Vincent Benoist. The artist's father had a royal alliance, clearly, and this would generate problems later. Benoist's husband was accused of involvement in a plot to rescue Marie Antoinette, and this is evident in a warrant signed by none other than Jacques-Louis David. This occurred shortly after the couple's wedding, which is a real bummer. In order to escape arrest, her husband Pierre Vincent quickly fled Paris. Benoist remained in the city. The couple were united 2 years later in 1795 when the hostility ended. Her work was finally exhibited at the Salon and even received a financial reward from the government. Even with the political uncertainty, she received numerous portrait commissions from the Napoleonic regime, as you can see in this work, and regularly showed her works at public exhibitions in Paris and Versailles, which brings us to our next painting. Her famous work, Portrait of Madeleine, formerly known as Portrait of a Negress, obtained the coveted position of a seat at the Louvre, where the painting hangs to this day. It's needless to say that the Louvre was the most prestigious and desirable stage for an artist. So to this painting by Benoist, Portrait of Madeleine, an oil on canvas. Before its placement into the Louvre, Benoist's famous work, Portrait of Madeleine, was exhibited in the Salon in 1800 with great controversy. In 1815, years later, her husband was appointed to the Council of State, and Benoist ended her career as not to outshine her husband's position, which is a real shame because this is a beautiful painting. She never exhibited after his promotion, and Benoist died in Paris in 1826. Now, Benoist's Portrait of Madeleine contains a powerful story of social hierarchy, classism, and discrimination by platforming the portrait of a recently freed Black woman. This painting was exhibited in 1800. The Salon, it was exhibited in the Salon 6 years after the abolition of slavery in France. The sitter is believed to be the recently freed servant of Benoist's brother-in-law. And now this painting, while beautifully rendered, brings with it many questions. So here we may want to ask ourselves, was Benoist challenging hierarchy and classism in this painting? Raising Madeleine as a part of an elite primarily reserved for the rich? Or was this the opposite? Was Benoist showcasing Madeleine as a family possession, highlighting her wealth? At this point in time, as in many places still today, Black women hold the lowest ranking in social hierarchy. Today, the painting is interpreted as a feminist icon, and it was even featured in a Beyonce music video. So here's just a close-up of the face in this painting. Now, here I'm going to highlight some possible personal interests for Marie-Guillemine's Benoist painting this image. So why would she choose this and paint this? This subject could have proven her superiority, rendering flesh tones, or the artistic research of contrast between the dark skin and the light background, which is done so well. This painting not only created contrast in color, as you can see with the white stark background and her beautiful flesh tones, but it also created contrast in theme. It's really interesting because we have a stark difference between race and class in this image, whether you realize it or not. There are two women to consider in this image, the artist and the sitter. One is white and wealthy, and the other is Black and by all accounts poor. And this is brought together with this union of this breathtaking image. And again, we go back to the image here, beautifully rendered, beautiful flesh tones, Really elegant placement of the arms, the beautiful drapery of the fabric and the headpiece, the earring, the gaze. Just done so, so beautifully, and I can see why this is her most famous work, regardless of the controversy that came with it. It is beautifully done and definitely noteworthy as a masterful work. And with that are my sources for this work, and I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about this artist today.